Can you use homemade natto as a starter? Natto's fermentation process, Q&A. That's something I'm going to share with you today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya, the Natto King. I am the author of Natto Unleashed and the Ikigai Diet. Okay, yeah, so can you use homemade natto as a starter when you make the second batch? Yeah, so that was a question I received from one of the readers of my newsletter. Yeah, and because this person heard that using homemade natto as a starter was not good or that was not recommended somewhere else. Yeah. Um, okay. So to answer this question, yeah, we need to look at the fermentation process of natto, how the soybeans are fermented. So what do you need for the fermentation? Yeah. You need steamed soybeans, steamed or boiled soybeans, or some sort of heated soybeans, and then the beans have to be hot and beans have to be soft. Yeah, and then you need Bacillus subtilis. Yeah, this is the bacteria that ferment the beans. Yeah, Bacillus subtilis is also called natto bacteria or nattokin. Yeah. Then you need to keep the soybeans with Bacillus subtilis at the temperature between 40 to 45 degrees centigrade, and that is 104 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, for about 24 hours. Yeah, okay. So, Bacillus subtilis is one of the elements you need for the fermentation. Yeah, you need to inoculate Bacillus subtilis to the steamed beans. Okay, and there are four ways to inoculate Bacillus subtilis to the beans. Yeah, one, using a store-bought natto beans because store-bought natto beans contain some Bacillus subtilis. They are made, they're fermented by Bacillus subtilis. Therefore, the end product should contain Bacillus subtilis. Yeah. And two, using manufactured natto starter spores. Yeah. So this is the bacteria itself, kind of extracted from the product, or I don't know how they make one, but anyway, the bacteria itself. Yeah. Um, and then using a wild plant such as rice sorrel, wheat sorrel, or mint. Yeah, because Bacillus subtilis exists in most wild plants, especially in dried wild plants. Therefore, rice sorrels or wheat sorrels are good sources of Bacillus subtilis. Yeah. Now, so some people might wonder if it's possible to make natto from wild plant, but that is the original way. That has always been the way in the past. In Japan, for a long time, natto had been made using rice straws, and in Nepal, they have a kind of another fermented soybean product, yeah, and then they use banana leaves to ferment the beans, yeah. So it is possible, right? And then the fourth way is using homemade natto beans, right? Um, Again, you made homemade natto beans using Bacillus subtilis of some form, yeah? Either store-bought natto beans or manufactured spores or wild plant, yeah? So the end product should contain Bacillus subtilis. Therefore, to answer the question, yes, you can. You can use homemade natto as a starter to make the second batch. Okay, so the person who asked me the question heard it somewhere that it was not recommended to use homemade, natto as a starter. So I asked the person where, the person heard it. And then, so I got the information So I checked the source. Yeah. And the source of the information was one Japanese person. Yeah. And then it was in the kind of comment section of her YouTube video. And then she actually says there that I've never tried my own homemade natto as a starter, yeah, as a starter yet. But I read or heard some people tried it and the results were less sticky or didn't turn out well. Okay. So she doesn't have an experience of making natto using the homemade natto as a starter, right? So this is based on the experiences of other people, right? Now, so I don't know what sort of condition those other people made natto at, like how long they soak the beans, how long they steam the beans, and so on, whether the temperature was right during the fermentation. Yeah. But anyway, if you look at this point, the result was less sticky. Now, so less sticky means it did ferment. The beans were fermented, but not enough. But doesn't it sometimes happen? How many people have experienced this? So you tried making homemade natto, and then it kind of became natto, but it was less sticky. Yeah? Yeah. I mean, it can happen a lot. In fact, it can happen with using any starter. This can happen by using store-bought natto or the manufactured spores or wild plant. Yeah? So it doesn't, yeah, directly mean the starter was the problem. Maybe it was, but there could be something else, right? Okay. So, but one thing is clear or one thing is possible is the condition of your homemade natto. Yeah. So was there enough Bacillus subtilis? Right. Because usually the condition of store-bought natto is good. Yeah, because they are produced by professionals and natto companies. Yeah, yeah, they make sure to succeed, or they only sell successful product. They don't sell the one that they failed. Yeah, they don't do like, oh God, it didn't work well. I mean, it kind of became natto, but it was a little less sticky. Then they will not sell it. Yeah. However, the homemade natto's condition may not always be good. Yeah, because we're not professionals, we're amateurs. So, and then some of us, have made natto only a few times. We're not experienced enough to know how. So we often fail. That is possible. So that those people who failed in making natto using homemade natto as a starter may have used the homemade natto, which was not properly fermented in the first place. That is possible. Yeah. Yeah. So the condition of your homemade natto is critical. So in that sense, store-bought natto is more reliable because usually it is good. Yeah. Well, the homemade natto, you need to choose the one that that was successful. Yeah. Yeah, but also you need to look at other elements such as the soaking time. Did you soak the beans long enough, or did you steam the beans long enough? Yeah. What about the fermentation condition, the time, temperature, and often people forget about oxygen. Okay, because I've seen some videos where people making natto using oven where the door is closed. Okay, that means oxygen is not, you cannot get enough oxygen, but it might work. Yeah, but if you have a lid open, then you have a higher chance of, fermenting the beans because you can get some oxygen in. And the same thing with the instant pot too. I mean, some people close the lid when they make, then they may not have enough oxygen. So that can affect the process of fermentation and the moisture too. The reason why I use cotton cloth is to keep the moisture inside. Yeah. So this fermentation condition has to be right. And then finally, the starter. Yeah. So the starter could be the cause, but there could be other causes too. Okay. Okay. But anyway, as long as the condition of your homemade natto is good, you should be able to make the second batch. Yeah. So I will share with you some tips to using homemade natto as a starter. Yeah. Now, use fresh natto. Yeah, natto that has been sitting in the refrigerator for more than a week may not be as effective as a starter. In fact, this can happen quite often. Yeah, like you make natto and you usually keep the container inside the fridge, right? And then little by little you consume. So maybe it takes a week for you to consume. And then at the end of like so you have some natto left, and then you think, oh, okay, I'm gonna use those nattos to make the second batch. So that means those are old, a week old, may not be the best option. Yeah, use the new natto, fresh natto. Yeah. Now, so when you look at the natural world, yeah, unfortunately, the law of nature is a little cruel if you interpret to the human world, but the strong ones survive, the weak ones, doesn't, right? So whenever you plant, when you plant seeds too, you pick the strong seed. You don't choose weak seed. Yeah. The same thing with the bacteria. You want to pick the strong ones. Yeah. And then, so therefore choose fresh natto and use clean natto as well. Make sure that your homemade natto is free from any mold or other contaminants. Yeah, because you take some natto out of the container many times, so something might get in the way. So better to use the fresh natto. So when the natto is made, first you just take the spoonful of natto and keep it in another container somewhere separately. Yeah, so that you can use those fresh, clean natto as a starter to make the second batch. And then for the other container, you use it for consuming your natto. Yeah. Yeah. And then please use it within like a few days, maybe, yeah, 2 days, 3 days after is okay, but don't wait until 1 week. Yeah. Therefore, the rhythm of making natto is important. You want to make it once a week so that you can keep this rhythm. Yeah. But eventually, you won't need a starter to make natto because your container will have some Bacillus subtilis, and your cotton cloth will contain some Bacillus subtilis eventually after making natto several times. Yeah, only the beginning you need to use the homemade natto as a starter to make the second batch, the third batch, and so on. For details of how to make natto at home, please watch my other video. Yeah, the actual title is How to Make Natto at Home, the Complete Guide. It explains everything you need to know about homemade natto. Yeah, or read my book, Natto Unleashed. It has the information of DIY natto plus health benefits of natto, recipes, navigating natto stays, and natto hacking. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of Natto Unleashed and the Ikigai Diet. If you like this video, please give me your thumb up and subscribe to my channel, and please leave your comment. Have you made natto using homemade natto as a starter, and how did it go? Thank you. Well, I'll see you in the next video. Live with your Ikigai!